Good morning.
Doctor, you decided to create this series in various shades of blue. Why blue, and why did you choose these shades?
Yes, we all know the expressions, I've got the blues and Blue Monday. Those expressions come from the 19th century slaves and African-American slaves, and they wanted to express their feelings of anguish and of tribulation in a musical genre, and they called that vehicle the blues. And that's why I've also included in these 12 paintings some renowned South African jazz and blues musicians to create a certain ambiance. And I focus on Madiba's years as a freedom fighter and his different moods of frustrations and of struggle that he had to go through. That's why I've used the color blue.
Doctor, you focus on a very turbulent time in Tata's life. Why that specific focus? You could have probably focused on any other parts of his life, but why were you so drawn to that particular aspect?
Yes, I think that especially in his later years, after he has become a president, Mr. Mandela became not only a national icon, but also an international icon. And when you read his books, his own autobiographies, Conversations with Myself, and Freedom, Long Walk to Freedom, and other books, then you would see that people normally understand his later phase, but especially our young people, do they grasp the level of sacrifices that he had gone through. And I think that you only can know the later Mandela if you really understand the earlier one, the young Mandela, when he had selflessly lay down his life, when he gave up his normal life as a son, as a father, as a husband. He even was willing to let go of his pride and joy, his law firm that he shared with Oliver Tambo. And in order to do that, he was even willing to sacrifice his own life. We mustn't forget that the capital punishment was a reality. It was a real possibility for them, he and his colleagues in those years. But he ended his 5-hour-long speech with these words, as we know, I am prepared to die. That was his formative years. That was the Mandela that I want to capture, all his moods that he has gone through in order for us to be a free nation today.
Very quickly, Doctor, I mean, you at the beginning of this conversation reflected on what blues mean. Anguish, tribulation, struggle. You talked a little bit about the history of the color blue. In terms of reference and in terms of kind of referencing other artists, specifically for the kind of works that you put together, take me through that process, your own personal reference process.
Yeah, okay. First of all, you must understand that I'm an academic. So I've started to read on Mr. Mandela and the ANC when they were still banned and in exile. I had the opportunity to study at the Free University of Amsterdam for 3 years in the early 80s. And there I've met Oliver Tambo, and later on I've also met Madiba. And I've also written in my PhD thesis, I've included a whole chapter on called From Mohandas K. Gandhi to Nelson Mandela. Now, in order for me, I thought, especially late 2012 and in the beginning of 2013, when Madiba was very ill, critically ill, as you would remember, I thought, how can I contribute? How can I make a small contribution to capture his life and his contribution? And then I've included a certain jazz artist also to create a certain ambiance. So I've used the academic books, I've used his own autobiographies, I've used the genre of the blues, and It tells me it is a whole story. It's a one work of art. It is about liberation history. It is about our heritage. It's about a culture of sacrifice, and that we should appreciate today.
Very quickly, you stopped painting for a while. The inspiration to pick up the brush again?
Yes, immediately after the launch on Friday, somebody commissioned me, and I'm actually starting to work on that pencil sketch. This work of art is in watercolor, but I also make use of acrylic, and I also make especially use of pencil sketches.
Doctor, thank you very much for joining us from our Cape Town studios. That's Dr. Willa Boezak talking to us about the Blue Era exhibition that will be taking place at the Artscape Theatre to commemorate the first year anniversary since the passing of our former president, our very beloved Tata Nelson Mandela.